Good morning, Year 4, and welcome back to another maths lesson. Today we're going to carry on with division, but looking particularly at remainders and what they are and how they work. So for today's lesson, I recommend you get a collection of objects like you have done before, like Lego bricks or books or pencils or strands of spaghetti or I don't know, anything you've got. You just need a collection of things that you can use. Pause the video to go and get what you need. Got everything? Good. Right, let's start. We're going to start with the fairly simple stuff today. So I've got 12 sweets, lucky me, but I'm being really nice and I'm sharing them between 4 people. So I need to divide my 12 into 4 groups. So I've got my 4 spaces here. So my calculation therefore is 12 divided by 4. So all I need to do is one at a time, share them out. There we go, 1 each. And 2 each. And there we go. So if we have 12 sweets, each person therefore is going to get 3. So we can put our answer up here. 12 divided by 4 is 3. If we put 12 sweets into 4 groups, we get 3 each. And it works backwards the other way with the inverse. So I know that 3 times 4 makes 12. Let's have a look at another one. Here I've got 15 sweets. And again, I'm being really kind and I'm sharing. But I want to share them between 4 people. Pause the video to do this with your objects at home. Divide your 15 objects between 4 groups. And what do you notice? Well, I've shared them out, but what I've noticed is that I've got some left over. Did you have as well? So I've tried to share them equally, and there are 3 in each section, but I've got these 3 left, and I can't put them anywhere, because if I put 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here, this person doesn't have as many as the others do. That's not equal grouping. So these ones here end up being left over. So what do we do about that? And how on earth do I write it down? Do I just write 3 with another 3 left over? Well, that doesn't seem right. That seems a little bit wordy for maths. So mathematicians came up with a shorthand. So this is what's called a remainder. When you have some left over, it's called a remainder. So what they do is they write 3 because that's how many each group has. And then they just write R for remainder and how many they've got left. So we've got 15 divided by 4 equals 3 remainder 3. That means you know that you can have 3 each and then there are 3 left over. That's all a remainder is. It's just what's left over afterwards. Now use your objects at home to solve these calculations, splitting into a certain amount of groups. So 5 groups, 8 groups, or 6 groups, depending on which one you're looking at. Use your objects and then write your answer down, making sure that you use that R for remainder when you need it. Pause the video and then we'll check your answers. This is what I got. So 21 divided by 5, we had 4 remainder 1. 43 divided by 8, we ended up with 5, but remainder 3, so we had 3 left over. And 34 divided by 6, we have 5 remainder 4. So again, there were 4 left over at the end. But we don't always have lots of objects that we can use to help us. So there are different ways of drawing and showing division. I'm going to show you a way now that you will have seen in the videos yesterday using place value counters. So here I have 3 10s and 8 1s, so I've got 38. And I want to divide my 38 by 3. So find out how many 3s are in 38. So what I'm going to do is I've got a place value chart here and I've split it into 3 rows. Can you see, using those red lines, split it into 3 parts. And I'm going to share my 10s and 1s into those 3 parts. If I had a hundreds number as well, I could share my hundreds out. So I'm going to start with my 10s, and I'm going to put 1 there, sharing them out equally, and 1 there. And that's it, that's all the 10s. So now I need to share my 1s. So we put 1 at a time into each one. And remember, if you have counters at home, you can do this with them on a drawn place value grid, but if not, you can just draw them. Right, we're nearly there. Now, I've got these 2 left, but I can't put them anywhere, because if I put them here and here, this one doesn't have an extra one, so that's not an equal group. So what's this bit called? It's my remainder. So let's see how many I have in each group. So in this row here, I've got 1 10 and 2 1s. This group I've got the same, and this one I've got the same again. So 1 10 and 2 1s make 12. And so our answer is then 12 remainder 2. So 12 R2. And we can use the part whole diagram as well, like we've been using in the last few days to do this. Dividing 38 by 3, well, I know that 30 is 10 times 3. So that can go into one arm of our part whole diagram, and that's 10 lots of 3. And then I've got 8 left over. Well, if I try and split 8 into 3 groups, I can't quite do it. So I'd write underneath that it's 2 lots of 3, but then I'd write R2 underneath because I've got 2 left over. You can't just ignore the remainder. I've got 10 lots of 3 and then 2 lots of 3, so that's 12 lots of 3, remainder 2. So our answer up here will be 12 remainder 2. Some of you might have seen in the video yesterday that you can also use a number line for dividing. So I'm going to remind you how to do it just in case, because some people find that a lot easier. If we start with 19 divided by 4, I've got a number line here that goes from 0 to 20. And the idea is that you want to take out groups of 4 until you get all the way back to 0. So I start with 19 because that's the number I start with in my calculation. And I'm going to take off groups of 4 at once. So there we go, that's counting back 4. We've got to 15. I can count another group, and then another group, and another one. But now if I want to count back 4, 1, 2, 3, I can't do it. I've only got 3 left. So I can't do another group of 4. So the 3 is then my remainder. It's how much I've got left. So 19 divided by 4 is then 4, because I've got 4 groups, remainder 3. If you find that easier to do, that's fine. Number lines are absolutely fine to use. For today's challenges, you can use whatever methods you find best, whether that's part whole diagrams, number lines, place value grids with place value counters, or whether it's just using your objects at home, your Lego bricks or pencils, cuddly toys. I think I'd probably use ducks because I think I definitely have enough of those. But you can use whichever method suits you best. Let's have a look at the questions. Challenge 1 today is using numbers that are all within your times table, so the numbers aren't too big. And you can solve these, again, as I said, using any method you want, but they will all have a remainder. I want you to practice writing the answers down using the R for remainder. So your answer and then remainder 2 or 3 or however many you have left over. Challenge 2, the numbers go a little bit beyond the times table numbers. So you'll need a written method of some kind. Remember, it's up to you what that is. If you want to do the super challenge as well today, then you need to keep watching, because I'm about to show you how to convert your remainders into fractions to make your answers look a little bit more grown up. So you would then need to complete challenge 2, but writing your remainders as fractions. And you can then feel free to challenge yourself with really big numbers if you want, dividing by any single digit. So any number up to 9. So if you're a challenge 1 or 2 person, then I will say goodbye now. Good luck with the challenges, and I'll see you again tomorrow. If you're a super challenge person, come with me. So these are fractions. Very simple, I know, but we'll start at the beginning. So a fraction tells you how many pieces you have out of a whole number of pieces. So here we have 2 out of 5. So if it was a pizza, for example, you'd have the pizza cut into 5 pieces and you've got 2 of them. Or you'd have a pizza cut into 10 pieces and you've got 3 of them. Or you can think of it as like a test score, or like when we're doing TT Rockstars and you get a score out of 60. So this is, for example, 5 out of 8. The line in the middle basically means out of, and that's really important for you to remember today. So let's look back at the one we did together with the sweets, 15 divided by 4. So we could get 3 in each group and then with 3 left over. So we wrote our answer as 3 remainder 3. But there's a better way of writing it. The most important part here is the remainder 3. We're going to turn this into a fraction. So the first thing is, we know we had 3 left over, but out of how many? How many did we want to be able to share? Well, if we had 4, that would have been perfect, wouldn't it? We'd have 1 then for each section because we're dividing by 4. So out of the 4 that we wanted, we have 3. So we've got 3 out of 4. And if you look, this means the number you're dividing by is the number at the bottom of your fraction. Your remainder is the number at the top, the numerator, because you have 3 left out of the 4 that you needed. Remember, the numerator at the top is your remainder and your denominator at the bottom is the number you were dividing by. Have a go at challenge 2 and try and write your remainders as fractions. So like this one, we've now got the whole number and then the fraction. So 15 divided by 4 was 3 remainder 3, or 3 3/4. Have a go and see how you find it today. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.